Okay, hold on a second. We got the guest coming up. Yo, hello, hello.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. How are you doing, boss?
Pretty good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Good, good. Hey, love to have you. So, guys, we actually have one of the team members from NFT Worlds on here. We got ArcDev, and ArcDev, are you cool with me calling you that, or do you go by anything
Yeah.
specific?
Yeah, that's perfect. That's usually what I go by.
Awesome. Okay, so the quick TLDR from my perspective is that I've had a few friends reach out and say, "Hey, there's this NFT Worlds thing. You should probably like check it out, right?" And I'm like, "Okay." We kind of like gander at it, and then progressively, I'm getting more and more DMs from different people being like, "Hey, fam, you got to look at this." You know what I'm saying? So
Sure.
this is something that I think is actually going to be a huge player in the space, but I want to kind of let you describe it for anyone that doesn't know. What is NFT Worlds?
Yeah, I mean, the most similar thing that exists right now that you can compare it to, albeit we are different in a lot of ways, is probably like the sandbox. The next most similar in the space, just to give people some starting context, is probably like Decentraland. But we basically took the approach of building a metaverse on like the world's most popular building platform to date and playability platform, which is Minecraft, and just extending the functionality from Minecraft is like kind of the base layer to let us get started so much faster, have access to a decade's worth of mods and stuff like that, and build a massive multiverse on top of that, all within the allowed terms of the Minecraft and Microsoft EULA, and we're in good terms with them and kind of just trying to build out a large metaverse from there.
So when you're saying that like you guys are kind of doing like with Minecraft and you have like that connection, is it something where like literally you can take a build from Minecraft, export it into here?
Yeah, you can totally do that. A lot of the building happens using Minecraft, and the player client is a modified version of Minecraft.
Yo, that's spicy. I kind of love it. And you guys, one thing that you've like highlighted, and there's a certain document that I needed to find that you guys had when you were talking kind of like about the world, and you were saying like kind of compared to other ones that stood out, at least to me, was the fact that you guys are keeping to that scarcity where when you look at Decentraland, it's 90,000 plots for Sandbox,
Yeah.
166. But for you guys, you're keeping to 10,000. Why?
Yeah, so it's a great question. The biggest differentiator is both the Decentraland and Sandbox for their plots. They're constrained in size, right? So like there's only a specific amount of square footage that each of those plots are within their metaverse. But within NFT worlds, each individual world is more or less infinite. So while there's scarcity in the number of hostable worlds that can be developed and owned by an individual, the extent to which those worlds can be developed and more functionality within those worlds can be built is relatively infinite. So while the scarcity is there, the ability to make very large scale ecosystems and even subdivide plots from owners in the future, stuff like that within their worlds, is all going to be possible.
And for this comparison, for Sandbox and Decentraland, there is the aspect of you can buy plots kind of around each other. But for here, I'm not sure what the best way would be to do that. Is that something that's a possibility, or do you guys have it where it's segmented and it's supposed to be kind of all over the place?
Yeah, like I mean, the best way to think about how it's structured at the moment is each world is more or less its own individual world. There's no built-in proximity to another world at the moment. The way that we have the worlds interlinked when multiplayer goes live is that world owners can create locations within the world that act as portals, and any player going through that portal can be warped to a predefined location in another world. So you could think of some use cases as, let's say someone builds a world that acts as kind of like a hub or train station or whatever, with many, many different portals to some of the top worlds with the best games and whatnot. Like joining into the game and like popping into that world to start, you could then see what is latest content, pop into other worlds by going through portals. If community worlds wanted to collaborate and say like, hey, like Cool Cats and Sloths or King Kongs or something like that wanted to have like a cross collaboration between members, they could have portals between worlds. And I think the goal is to see this kind of interlinked spiderweb like ecosystem where the content slowly and organically melts together by how the community builds it up, and kind of see what happens from there.
When you're talking about portals, I don't know if you ever played RuneScape, but it makes me think of like the house portals that you think to be able to go to,
Yeah,
and everyone's got those different locations. Is that the kind of way that you envision it, or is it going to be like an
yeah.
excessive amount of portals?
No, I think the house portals is a good one. There is no limit to the number of portals world owners can define within their worlds to other worlds, but I think the use case will probably be more kind of quality focused rather than quantity focused portals. But we'll see. Yeah.
Okay, so I purchased a plot of land and I'm trash at building. I've never played Minecraft or any of that kind of stuff. Is there anything that I can do, or is it similar to Sandbox where I would need to look for somebody that, experienced with building?
Yeah. So right now, there's kind of two options. There's you have full flexibility to build on your own. You don't have to buy any assets for like builds or whatnot, like you would to get some good stuff to start with Sandbox. There are a large builder community that's already kind of springing up within our Discord. These are actually some of the top like world class Minecraft builders that are very interested in NFTs and so came over to the space. But these are the guys that are building like some of the best build quality builds that are globally recognized in Minecraft, but now for NFT worlds because they recognize the opportunity of the space, et cetera. But with all these people in this sort of partner category that we have of builders, any world owner can go to them within our server and just like drop a message in our marketplace channel and just say like, hey, I want to build done like this is kind of the idea I have, and they'll just like an open marketplace bid out like what the potential price would be, and they work with world owners to create kind of their vision, and we kind of oversee that and make sure that they're following the terms we expect.
All right, so you got 10,000 plots of land. You're able to build out this kind of entire community within your plot, but there's going to be, a variety of different things out there. When you're comparing again to Sandbox, to Central Land, and I guess more specifically for Sandbox, they're saying, we're going to have kind of like that play to earn type model for aspects of it. Do you guys think, hey, this is going to be kind of like a fun game, or are you looking at that kind of play to earn model as well?
Oh yeah, play to earn is huge. It's a big focus. So we have the world token that is coming out. We're doing the snapshot for the airdrop for land holders later this month. The date hasn't been announced yet, but half the supply of the world token is being withheld to fund in-game play to earn mechanics. So these are going to be quests that world owners can build in, like quests that just are across the entire ecosystem, challenges for players, competitions, things like that. And our goal is to basically have it as like the incentivized in-game utility token slash currency that by completing these things, by just actively playing and engaging with the communities, playing games and stuff, you're going to earn small amounts of these world tokens over time. And so that's where the whole play to earn ecosystem comes into play. And our goal is just to build out a massive ecosystem across all the worlds interconnected on the token.
Yo, that's crazy you guys are doing that. And the fact that you're doing an airdrop and you're saying, hey, this is coming out kind of like this month, I'm surprised that just from that you guys haven't kind of seen more volume, because I use it in comparison to what happened with ENS, right? Like when they did that token drop, a lot of people had no idea that that was even, happening at that time. So there was really no time to quote unquote prepare. But I thought I saw something where you guys said you were going to come up with like an algorithm or like a formula to decide how much of the world token is getting distributed based on how long you've held that land. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. We haven't proposed the final formula. There's three options we're looking at. And we're going to, before finalizing something, just propose it to the community and see kind of like what is the general consensus and what is the ideal algorithm people vote for. The three approaches are, one is just an even fair distribution, which I doubt will be what most people go for, but this is common amongst fair airdrops, where it's one world equals the same amount of token regardless of rarity. I don't think we're going to go with that, but it's one of the proposals. The other is a simple but rarity-based airdrop or formula where we basically just have a declining scale from like rarest world getting the most relative amount of tokens down to the least rarest world getting the least relative amount of tokens, but all worlds will still get tokens, but owning a rare world will give you more tokens, obviously.
Okay, because I have like a completely basic land, so good to
Yeah,
good to
yeah. And then the last one is a more complex formula that we're still working on, and I think we're going to present all these options this week, kind of for the community to give their input on. But that's based on certain traits giving a certain weight to the overall amount of tokens that would earn for a certain world, as well as this resource percentages and geography, just kind of like taking into account more to the land specific data, kind of like distribution of tokens based on your resources, your traits, the things that would make a world valuable, kind of in like a real world sense.
Well, how do the resources exactly like play a part? Because is this going to be something that's like I don't know. I guess Zoo Tycoon would be a terrible like idea of like, hey, you're collecting these different resources so you can put dirt or savanna grass over here or whatever. But like, how are those going to come into play?
Yeah, it's a good question. This is something we get asked a lot. The resources are at this time decoupled from the in-game experience. The resources came from originally when we started NFT Worlds. We took a dual approach where we had this whole idea of in-game creativity built on Minecraft massive multiplayer, and then we had also had this opinion like, we don't know if that's going to work, but we saw how well Loot did with like doing all this on-chain metadata. Like, let's move these resources and all this world data as kind of like an on-chain leverageable thing that people can build on top of for world data, and building games on top of that world data from the blockchain. The world data side didn't explode like the creative side. So now, we're focused on the open massive multiplayer side. But with that, we're looking at ways of how do we factor these resources back in over time in a way that makes sense for the direction the ecosystem's gone. And that will include like, in the event we go the airdrop formula that includes those resources, that will include that, which is probable outcome. The other things are we're looking at building things where certain worlds based on resource percentages may get access to certain in-game perks or certain like pre-made games or mods that they could host based on the makeup of the worlds, things like that, but nothing super concreted. But it's definitely being taken into consideration for the future.
Okay, I got a big question. Are you ready for this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You guys have a video of a Bored Ape Yacht Club build, and it looks friggin' sick. So first of all, do you guys have some kind of collab going with them? And number two, if you do, have you ever met the creators?
Yeah, it's a good question. So with those worlds, basically those have come about from our verified build partners reaching out to either a dev or a community moderator within those communities, and then getting greenlit by them. Like, yeah, you can either do a fan art spinoff or whatever. Like, we don't care. Being like, yeah, this is great. Like, let's partner on it. In the Bored Ape case, the developer Entity Builds, I believe, reached out to them, and they're like, we don't really care if you do it or not. Like, go for it. And that's kind of what the result was.
Yo, that's hilarious. And I mean, like, I guess in terms of like partnerships and everything, like the fact that you guys have only 10,000 plots makes it something where it's like, hey, if we see what happens with the sandbox, the Central Land, where NFT projects in particular are like, oh, hey, like I want to have a piece of this to, be represented in the metaverse. What's kind of the interest been like from different NFT projects? Have you noticed an uptick? Do you think that you guys are super undervalued in the current stage?
Sure. Yeah, the number of projects and communities that reach out to us saying, hey, we bought a world, we want a build partner referral that you guys recommend that can build out the community for like our holders to be able to join and plan and stuff is big. We have like 20 something verified builders right now. I know one builder off the top of my head that's working, they have a huge team. They're working on 10 different worlds for 10 different NFT projects right now. Those include some projects like Boonji, Cryptodes. One of the teams did the Mechaverse world. I'm trying to think. There's a lot. Crypto Dads. But some of the bigger projects are definitely there. And then we get a lot of like mid to smaller tier projects reaching out that are just like, hey, like we want a world that only our holders can access, because with NFT worlds, we have a verification layer. So like you can build a world that only holders of specific tokens can access. But they want it for that kind of stuff. And yeah, the interest is definitely there, though. It's big.
So I guess the question next is this just all completely on Ethereum? Is it on Polygon? Is it on a layer 2 of some sort for different assets? How is that going to kind of play out?
Yeah, so definitely a good question. NFT worlds themselves are just built on layer 1 Ethereum. The in-game transaction layer, though, and this is something we've been like heavily looking into, Uh, right now, the most developed ecosystem that we're looking at to put the transaction layer on is like the Polygon sidechain. We've also looked at some more true layer 2 solutions like ZK rollups and stuff like that, but I don't feel that they are battle tested for the transaction volume that we'll probably see in game as we scale. And then the other side of it too is we've looked at Axie Infinity and how they kind of built their entire chain with Ronin, and that's done really well, and been considering that. But I think a good answer is the transaction layer is going to be on either a true layer 2 or sidechain or something like that that ties back into Ethereum. The future of high transaction things in game, or high frequency transaction things in game, are going to be on some network that provides low transaction costs and the speed that would be expected of in-game transactions.
How do you think things are going to progress? Just kind of on like a general sentiment here, because I think there's a lot of people saying like, oh yeah, like we do have to go to Polygon or something that's like that layer 2, where a lot of people are talking about Immutable X as well. Like, how do you kind of see the future of the whole layer 2 argument shaping up?
Man, I don't know. It's a good question. I jokingly talked with our technical team about creating a bridge between a Solana-based token for transactions instead of like a ERC20 or sidechain-based token, and bridging it back to the ETH network somehow. Just because I have concerns around the long term until we see what ETH2 is actually going to be capable of in a production environment. For high transaction volumes and things where like you have to have low gas fees, you have to be able to handle transaction volume. I'm not super confident in any solutions yet. Like there's some things out there that seem promising, but like promise in testing and in theory versus like in production and at like the scale that Ethereum is, I honestly don't know what's going to happen yet. But I'm very bullish on Solana in general. It's something entirely different, right? But like,
yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, what they're doing and what they've proven so far, and still being in beta, and what they have on the roadmap to solve some of the centralization problems that people are concerned about. I think if they accomplish it, it's going to be a very big competitor for Ethereum.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have any thoughts on Flow?
I haven't looked into Flow, no.
Okay, fair enough. Just curious, because I think a lot of people, as you said, a lot of people are looking for kind of like a solution if the whole kind of realm of gas prices and whatnot aren't getting fixed. But I guess with that, how long have you been like in the crypto space for? Because obviously you chose to build on Ethereum. So is this something you thought, hey, like we might have to run into this problem at some point, or have you guys been in development for so long it's like it wasn't a problem at the time?
Yeah, no, it's I've been working in like the Web3 crypto space, dabbling in side projects, working more full time with the whole NFT stuff recently, but dabbling in like side projects for at least 3 years now, if not more. I've been doing engineering stuff for probably over a decade now. Yeah, as far as considerations, I think Ethereum is good for things that don't require resiliency around high transaction volume and stable transaction fees, right? Because like we see gas wars and stuff like that happening right now, and it just, even with mints, like it's not good when you get into like needing to submit hundreds to thousands of transactions per second for, let's say, like these metaverse games that have come online and have a lot of transaction-based ecosystem between players, players and marketplaces for items, stuff like that. It's just not going to work. But prior to this, I didn't really see that being a huge use case. But now as the metaverse is kind of developing for gaming, I see it as like ETH alone cannot handle this.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's going to be super spicy. I'm personally of the boat that I think that, like Polygon is going to end up taking a huge cut of things unless that is, kind of something that gets fixed. But in the same time, we know there's been a lot of
Yep.
issues with Polygon for a number of different reasons. So I want to kind of jump back to NFT worlds and talk a little bit more kind of like about your guys' token, the tokenomics and all that kind of aspect for it. So you're doing a drop for the land holders for that. Are you guys going to end up doing kind of, like an avatar drop or anything else where there's a possibility of getting that token, or is it just going to be that worlds for right now and then the rest is kind of like in the future in different ways?
Right now, it's just worlds that the drop's going to be for. The goal is, we want to foster a thriving ecosystem of active players in games. So, like, that goes back to why, half of our supply is reserved for those in-game player rewards. Like, players and people that just want to play and earn the token in general, they're going to have so many ways to do it in the game across all these different worlds. But for people that just want like a bulk airdrop for the token, holding world is how you'll get it.
W. Ayubal in the chat is asking, why is this better than Decentraland?
Yeah, I mean, good question. I think one of the things that, from like an engineering and decentralization perspective in general, to the extent that I'm aware in the research I had done, everything that has been built with Decentraland, in the event that their game servers go offline or they as a company were to go down, there would be no more Decentraland. Right? So like your NFTs representing plots or whatever it is in Decentraland, they only have value and utility to the extent that Decentraland is able to host and provide the service. From the flip side, with NFT Worlds, the way we've built the multiplayer ecosystem out is that each individual world is not hosted by us. The server hosting software is going to be open sourced as soon as it goes live. And we have guides that are developed for how individual world owners can individually host their own worlds and how the layer of connecting between these worlds we built allows them to do so. Basically decentralizing the entire ecosystem, meaning that if NFT Worlds, we as like the creators were to go down for any reason, all of the code base for the servers are open source. The layer that routes for how your game client connects to worlds is a smart contract that handles the routing that world owners can update anytime with connection details for the world. And the game client is open source as well. So it's like there's no dependency on a centralized provider with what we're doing, which is more in line with the philosophy of Web3. And I think that's a really big detail that most people don't think about yet.
That was a lot. I love it. And if I was way more technically savage, I was like, hell yeah, dude. But no, that's some awesome information. And I want to kind of get some more information off of you here. If there's someone that's like, hey, like I do want to pick up a rare land because I think, what you're saying is super cool. How do you like filter that within OpenSea to find like what ones are rare?
Yeah. So we have kind of like a rarity-based system where different color codings on the NFT image themselves kind of define the rarities. So there's a legend at the bottom of each NFT
It's
world.
like the purple one, right? Yeah. So purple is very rare, ultra rare is yellow, and then red is extremely rare.
Yeah, so that's kind of like a quick guide on rarity. We do have a website that has rankings too. If like you're interested in that, I can send it here. Here we go.
Take your time. You're good. You're good.
Yeah. Rarity Sniper, they've done a really great job with kind of being an alternative to rarity tools that I think personally looks better. But yeah, that's how you can sort by rarity.
Okay, so hold on. Let's bring this up right quick and just take a gander on stream. Sorry, you can't see the stream. I can send you a link to it if you want, actually.
You're fine.
Rank number 1 is number 2469. Okay, so this land has Enchanted Earth. Okay, Art Dev, Enchanted Earth. What the hell is it?
Yeah. So there's a bunch of these traits that aren't in vanilla Minecraft, but because we have buildability with the custom game client as well as the server side, all of these traits are going to do something in the future within the game for the world owners and give them either access to some exclusive kind of content or special features within the world, not all of which have been announced yet. And this is just another example of that.
Do you have any like people that are like absolutely monster holders of this?
Yeah, there's a guy named Preps to Pros. I can send you
That's the
his.
guy that DM'd me.
Oh yeah,
He's like, bro, listen, trust, this is
yeah.
gonna be huge. I was like, all right, bet.
Yeah, he's the guy. He's like the Bored Ape whale. He owns like 30 something
Bro, he's
Bored
got
Ape.
like the #1 ape too.
I know.
He's got like top 10 rarity on every collection that
Yeah.
exists. It's crazy.
Um, he owns. He's the top holder. He owns
What?
250 worlds.
Yo, what? No. Okay, dude. Jeez.
I think right behind him is Pranksy. You know Pranksy, I'm
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I think he owns two. He either owns like high 100s, like 180, or more recent, like 210. I forget the actual number. You could probably look it up on the, just like the token holder count. But yeah, there's some big holders for sure.
Are they like active though, or are they just kind of like holding it?
Pranksy pops into our Discord every once in a while and just drops meme gifs and stuff. It's
Okay.
hilarious. Like he did a floor sweep the other day, and he dropped the Thanos "I am inevitable" meme gif, and like just the sale bot went crazy. Like as soon as he dropped that, it was like 50 buys, and we're like, what the hell? But yeah, Preps to Pros though, he messages me, yeah, maybe once every couple days, and it's like asking questions, or he pops in the community and he's actually chatting and stuff too, so it's cool to see.
Yo, that's awesome. Okay, so I guess like the next question is when is the game playable and all that jazz?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you can play and build right now. We have the world manager. It's a DApp that gives you access to how to access your world exactly in Minecraft. It also gives you the ability to start building on your world and sync it back to the NFT itself. I can give you an example of some of those developed worlds, but the single player experience is there. Right now, we're working on the multiplayer experience that ties all of this into the massive multiplayer ecosystem, but everything that's important for developing like the in-game worlds, the content, and like the things that people are actually going to be playing on now is there, and it's we wanted to build up the content ecosystem early.
Yo, okay, so back, I'm strung up on your rare versus common land thing. Is it better to get like, what's the disparity between like rare floors and like common? Like,
Yeah.
is it like a 3x? And do you think like that allocation is going to be like worth that difference?
Yeah, I think right now the extremely rare floor is high. It's like a couple ETH, but like the balance between very rare ultra rares are probably like a 2x versus the floor price. Like I see ultra rare, very rare world selling for like 1 ETH, 1.5 ETH, depending on the traits. But these extremely rares are usually like 5 ETH. We saw one go for 10 ETH the other day.
Sheesh. Okay, holy shit. What was the highest sale you guys have had so far?
It was actually a developed world. It was the Bored Ape world. I can find it for you real quick.
Wait, did Bored Apes buy it or did somebody buy it?
It was auctioned by the builder. So because it was basically Bored Ape, from what we understand, basically told them like, yeah, you can just do a fan tribute, whatever, we don't care. And then so the builder took it and then auctioned it. I just sent you the OpenSea link, and it sold for 23 ETH.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Yo, that's crazy. Okay, so I guess for you, when somebody spends 25 ETH on this, you're like, oh shit, or what goes through your mind when that happens?
It's exciting. It just like it reaffirms that people see the vision and the value in the ecosystem, I think. And it's just like we're building regardless, but like the confirmation of people are getting it and like they understand like what we're building towards is by actually buying these things at the price they're buying it's exciting for us.
I know you're bullish on yourself and all this kind of jazz,
Of
but the
course.
fact that the floor is like 0.5 here, is that like, do you think that people are just like not paying attention to the fact that there's only 10,000 of these?
Yeah, obviously I'm biased towards myself, right?
Oh yeah, trust me, be biased. You're vibing. You're good. You're good.
Yeah. I think that relative to what's been built so far, like maybe floor could be a little higher. I think as soon as multiplayer launches and people are actually able to get in these worlds, play with each other, proximity voice chat and everything.
Ooh, okay, so you're doing proximity voice chat, so that's like kind of like the Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It's optional for players, but it's in there. It's built in. But I think that people are going to wake up as soon as they actually play the experience in multiplayer and see what's going on.
So when you say multiplayer, can you dive into that a little bit? Like, what are you expecting? Is it going to be like kind of like RuneScape clan wars type thing in the wilderness fighting stuff? Or like, are we talking kind of like different kind of games, like jumping, puzzles, etc.?
Yeah, so I have yet to see exactly how this is going to go because here's how we're thinking of this from like the builder perspective is we want to give all these world owners and these build teams that are partnered with us the ability to basically create games like massive RPGs, all these different ideas, battle royales, etc., into their worlds as these different experiences that players of these worlds can hop in between, like warp through, whatever, and in exchange, they're having a genuinely fun game, like experience playing the game and like playing across all these different ecosystems and engaging with other people, as well as earning world token. I think that something similar to like a little bit like the Roblox ecosystem is a possibility, but we're tying all these worlds together so that they're seamless and it's not like you're popping in and out of games. If that answers kind of the question, I'm not sure.
Yeah, now I got to be totally honest with you. I looked at your DM, so I kind of missed the answer on that one, but everybody else there did. The Bored Ape Club thing, though, I'm just looking at the verified builds. So it went for 23 a month ago. Bro, I didn't even know you were a month old. Holy crap, I'm behind.
We started in October, and I mean, for context, like our floor price is 0.5 now, but before we did like announcements and actually released docs on exactly what we're doing, a week ago, or like a week and a half ago, it was like 0.1. So if 5x did
Okay, well that's good. And the Cryptoads world, that's so wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's just Toads and they have it right now. 13 hours left, 0.6. Spicy. What do you Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. I don't know if you knew this, but you can actually explore these worlds in your web browser just as like a viewing experience if you're interested.
Yes. How do you do that?
So this is the Cryptoads one. You just put the world ID at the end of nftworlds.com, and then you explore with the just WASD keys to move, and you can hold space to go up, shift to go down.
So I use the token ID, which would be like 116.
Yeah.
nftworlds.com/
I sent you the link in Discord, but yeah.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Oh. It's loading. Browser's kind of slow. Hold on.
Oh, you're good. And then you can click drag to move around, and WASD to...
Oh, this is fire.
But yeah, it's like think of it like if you were to buy a real estate listing and you wanted to kind of inspect it visually, like without having to play and load up the game, like you can do this right in your browser and explore these worlds.
Okay, so it's a little bit backwards. If you guys try to do it here, let me throw this in the chat. If I just copy it, I think it might work.
And you can go up and down. If you hold shift, it'll make you fly down. If you hold space, it'll make you go up.
Okay, fire.
Yeah. But yeah, it also works on mobile. If you have an iPhone or an Android phone, you can go to that same URL and fly around from your phone with the phone controls we have.
Yeah, that's sweet. And then for different settings, in terms of if you have a trash computer, do you guys have anything where you can set it to low quality or not yet?
Yes. Yeah. 100%. The game client that we're releasing that has the full experience will automatically determine graphic settings and stuff for the smoothest gameplay. That includes lower res textures if you have a really low end computer, not enabling shaders, or if you have a really high end computer, it's really high quality shaders, really good graphics, stuff like that. I can send you a video of what the actual in-game looks like if you haven't seen it, with all of our mods and everything on top to get a visual idea.
Yes, please.
So here's the link. This is the other day we were testing just all our configuration on shaders and the textures and whatnot. But yeah. And this is running around a Lazy Lions world, by the way.
Yo, love Lazy Lions. Hell yeah, dude. We're watching it, by the way. Don't think I'm ignoring you.
Oh, you're good.
There's like
But it's
noises
just
of animals. Why?
yeah, that's just some of the default Minecraft noises we haven't pulled out yet. Because right, we're using Minecraft as the layer to build all this interactivity on top of. So
Random question here. There's been some people that have said, I'm not like a huge fan of Sandbox because I don't like voxel stuff. This is
yeah,
like the epitome of voxel stuff 2.0. Have you had many
yes,
people that are like, yo, I love this concept, bro, but like, why are you doing it when it's not voxelized?
yeah. I haven't heard or seen much of that I can think of, but I'm sure there are people out there that are like, yeah, voxels,
Well, I'm just
and I
curious, like
understand.
the development, right? Because I think like it's early stages for stuff, and I think like the voxelization here like does look cool, and it's just kind of like a matter of time of like, okay, like does the stuff that is like I don't know, like really real world looking like how long until that stuff actually comes out? Because I imagine it's way more complex than what this is.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people, including ourselves, went with voxels just because it's like think about Legos or building blocks. Like inherently, it feels easier to build with, at least in my opinion, versus like if you have to use Blender or some like 3D animation tool or 3D modeling tool, it's a little harder for people to jump in and like get with that stuff, as far as I'm aware. But I'm sure it'll happen. I'm sure there's going to be a game that's like full, like proper AAA style,
Yeah.
non voxel. Yeah.
So Mogitz is asking, what's the difference between this and actually playing Minecraft?
hmm Yeah, so with the single player experience right now, there's not too much. It's more just that you can start building and syncing these world builds back to the blockchain. So, like, let's say not going beyond that what this allows is for all these really talented Minecraft builders to date that haven't really had a good way to sell their builds that in some cases I think could be treated as art because there's hours and hours put in these incredible world builds and stuff that people do in Minecraft. But like the ecosystem wasn't there for them to price them as such. This kind of gives that opportunity, and we've seen that a lot with why the verified builders started coming in because they're like, oh, people are really interested in these worlds for this use case, but it gives us a new channel to now create these incredible works of art that are these interactive worlds and market them as NFTs. So that's probably the biggest piece. When multiplayer comes online, it's going to primarily be that you have an ecosystem that is heavily developed with all this content across these worlds. You have a token system and layer built in that works across all of these worlds and gives you access to content, interactivity, perks, upgrades, items, etc., as it would in any other game. These types of things haven't been possible in Minecraft before. And the last thing is Minecraft was never built to be massively multiplayer. The server software is very bad. Like you're not going to find Minecraft servers that probably have more than 100 people on them at once. We're working with like some bleeding edge infrastructure using things like it's called sharding, but it's a way that Minecraft servers can actually be made massively multiplayer, which has not really been possible in the future, and we can get thousands of 10,000 plus people on a single world in this way. So you'll actually see probably the first MMO built on Minecraft, which is likely going to be NFT worlds.
Yo, what?
Sharding.
Yo, jeez. Yo, that's crazy, dude. Yo, I love that. Okay.
I see your chat. I pulled open the server. Someone said sharding. Not that sharding. Sharding like SHARD. It just means like splitting a server across multiple computers, but all running the same processes so that you can handle more people.
Yo, that's amazing. That's one hell of a way to kind of put it about you guys are really kind of building the MMO kind of like on top of Minecraft in a different way that's in NFTs. It's exciting. Listen, I'm going to leave it there, but is there any kind of final things for anyone that's just tuning in? A quick little kind of, 60-second recap of what NFT Worlds is and why they should pay attention to it.
Yeah, I mean, we're adding the first blockchain layer to what Minecraft is. We're making it into the first MMO of its kind. The buildability and playability is there, which has not been possible to the extent that we're doing. And it all falls in line with how people are starting to think about playable metaverses and play to earn. But yeah, you can learn more too if you pop into our Discord or just go to docs.io nftworld.com, nftworlds.com, or follow us on Twitter. Like all those places are good, but it's totally up to you. We post pretty frequently and give updates. So,
guys, I just threw ArcDev's Twitter down there in the chat as well on top of the NFT Worlds one, so be sure to go check him out with a follow. Last thing, just here from Distress Pickled, are you guys trying to be bought out by Minecraft or Roblox if that ends up being a possibility?
It's definitely not a goal. I think like right now we're just trying to build something awesome that people love and like is new and innovative. If 5 years down the road, like let's say one of them come to us and is like, hey, like this is really interesting, we want to buy it. In the event that we can be certain that they're not going to take away from what we've built to the extent that the community expects it to be, because you've seen like huge companies buy other smaller companies that people loved before and they just kind of train wreck them for the communities. If that's not the case, it may be something we consider, but it's really not like anything we think about day to day. We just want to build something awesome that everyone really enjoys and has fun in.
Yo, love it. Guys, go get some W's up in the chat here for ArcDev. My man, thanks so much for popping on it. And if you guys ever have any cool announcements, would love for you to come back and share all the good info.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, good. All right. Well, enjoy your name. We'll chat soon.
All right. See ya.
All righty. Yo, that was fire. Yo, sheesh. That was cool. I hope you guys like that. I like messaged him earlier, or like the main account, and I was like, hey, would anybody from your team want to come on? They're like, message this guy. I was like, all right, bet. And then he's like, sure. When? I was like, you want to come on later this week, or you want to do tonight? He's like, I'm good for tonight. I'm like, all right, fam, we're vibing. Yo, sheesh. Frank, pitch, I got to stop you, right? Frank. Whoever designed these worlds is seriously talented. Guys, do we bid on the Cryptodes world? Yo. Yo, sheesh.